What's going on, everybody? You are watching Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we'll be diving into more Vikings nuggets coming out of the NFL Combine. No quarterback talk today, just where this team could be heading this offseason. And Alec Lewis had this, where I thought it was the most telling part of his recent article he wrote up, where he said Frank Smith, the Vikings' new assistant head coach, earned the attention of NFL coaches and executives with his run game. Smith's calling cards and details, or his calling cards are details and physicality. He'll work closely with new offensive line coach Keith Carter to revamp a phase of the team that has been inconsistent during O'Connell's 4 seasons in charge. And is this finally the news that Vikings fans have been waiting for? Is this finally the year that Minnesota has a run game? Because we can talk about Kevin O'Connell, a short yardage play calling, maybe him getting too pass happy in certain spots. But the biggest issue I've had with KOC is not having a good run game. Because especially him coming from the Sean McVay tree. McVay is always running the ball. Sometimes McVay will get too overcommitted to running the football. That's the one part about Kevin O'Connell's play calling and just his overall success rate offensively that we haven't seen, is him being able to have a consistent downhill rushing attack. And the Vikings obviously are more of a pass-happy team compared to the league average. Here is run-pass splits over the last 4 seasons. Now it has taken a step back over the last couple of seasons with league trends shifting more towards the run. But still, in 22, he was throwing the ball 63% of the time. In 2023, when Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles and he had Josh Dobbs, Jaron Hall, Nick Mullins, he was still throwing the ball 62% of the time. Last year with Darnold, 24 with Darnold, 58%. And then 2025, still throwing the ball 59% with J.J. McCarthy, Max Brosmer, and Carson Wentz. Now, you probably ask Kevin O'Connell, why aren't you running the football more? He'll probably say, well, we aren't really that successful running the football, where I would say that's probably on you, because the last 4 seasons, this is not just a trend. This is who Kevin O'Connell is and what the Kevin O'Connell Vikings offense looks like. You just can't run the football. 2022, almost last. 2023, almost last. And 24 was great. 19th in the NFL in terms of rushing yards per game. But this past year, when you would think with a guy like J.J. McCarthy, who came from Michigan, a run-first offense, that KOC would lean into that a little more, but that didn't happen. 23rd in the NFL this past season in rushing yards per game. Now, you guys know my takes on Kevin O'Connell. I'm not as high on KOC, I think, as most Vikings fans, but I still think he is a top 15 head coach in the National Football League. But if Kevin O'Connell wants to take that next step, he needs to add a physical identity to his football team. And hopefully assistant head coach Frank Smith can help him do that. But how do you become more physical? 1, get more physical football players. I do think the Vikings have that. But then 2, their identity and the play calling has to go into that, where you are getting downhill, where you will have a drive like Ben Johnson or Kyle Shanahan would, where you're running the ball 10, 12 times on that drive to set a tone and set an identity for the game, but also your football team. Now, the Vikings did cut Aaron Jones, so they're going to probably have to bring in some more talent to that backfield. And there are 3 guys who they met with at the NFL Combine that I would have some interest in. Emmett Johnson, Nebraska running back, grew up in Minnesota, diehard Vikings fan. I would have a lot of interest in him. He did not run a great 40, but kind of moves a little bit like Bucky Irving. I've seen that comparison thrown out there, and since I've seen it, now I go look at his highlights. I can't unsee it. So watch out for Emmett Johnson. You got Nick Singleton, fan of his, but I love Katron Allen. Now, Katron Allen, very similar to Jordan Mason, so I don't know if the Vikings want that overlap. I think they want more of a true third down back, which would be a guy like Emmett Johnson. But if you guys think this is finally the year where the Minnesota Vikings have a run game, give me those skulls down below if you guys want the Vikings to have a run game next season. Would appreciate it. Make it look like US Bank Stadium on game day if you guys want the Vikings to have a run game next season. All right, let's talk about the safety position here for the Minnesota Vikings. Jay Ward, a huge question mark at the safety spot for the Vikes, because if they view Jay Ward as a guy who could step up in this system, play an everyday or an every down role for this defense, maybe the Vikings don't attack safety as hard as a lot of us think they will this offseason. But it sounds like the coaches are pretty high on Jay Ward. Alec Lewis writing this up, saying the Vikings are high on 4th-year safety Jay Ward's trajectory. He averaged more than 40 snaps in the team's final 3 games this past season and showed explosiveness on the back end. Ward is entering a contract year. He will factor prominently in the team's starting safety grouping. How the rest of that room shakes out remains to be seen, with potential Hall of Famer Harrison Smith status still up in the air. And Alec Lewis, alluding to those past 3 games, he was very, very solid. Here are his PFF grades against the Giants, 68.3, really solid in coverage as well, was fantastic against the Detroit Lions. He played over 50 snaps that game, and that was probably the best defensive performance the Vikings had this entire past season, but a 77.7 overall grade then, great against the run defense as well. And, the Vikings, they have 3 safeties in the room. Not going to include Harrison Smith on this, as we all expect him to retire, but you got Jay Ward, Josh Metellus, and Theo Jackson. Metellus will play. He's playing that star position. He'll be lined up all over. But in terms of just true safeties, it's Jay Ward and and Theo Jackson. I don't necessarily think that's enough. Now, Jay Ward could be a great 3rd option, and Theo Jackson be a great 4th option, but I think they need to add talent like a Dylan Thieneman. Maybe you go sign like a Reed Blankenship for cheap during free agency. But you guys let me know. Should the Vikings draft a safety? Give me a Y for yes. Give me an N for no. You guys let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I think they should, but if you guys disagree, chime in down below. Now we'll get to more here around the Vikings, specifically Dallas Turner, in just a second. But if you guys could, head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off and use promo code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off and free breakfast for a year. Cold days are here, and if you guys still got some big goals but no time to cook, well, Factor makes healthy eating easy with fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs. So eat well without the planning or cooking. Factor has quality, functional ingredients, including lean proteins, colorful veggies, whole food ingredients, and healthy fats. Now, they also have no refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and no refined seed oils as well. And they really do help me fit my schedule and my goals with covering the Vikings here at Chat Sports. Have some long days and don't always feel like making a home-cooked meal when I get off of work. But Factors came in and completely changed my life. So if you guys could, head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off. Use promo code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off and free breakfast for a year. Eat like a pro this month. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. 1 free breakfast item per box for 1 year while your subscription is active. Now, what will happen with Dallas Turner? Because a lot of question marks on if the Vikings are going to be trading Jonathan Grenard and getting Dallas Turner a bigger role. Alec Lewis talked about it, and he said 3rd-year edge rusher Dallas Turner's finish to the season excited the Viking staff. His goal for 2026 will be to enhance his pass rush tool bag. Minnesota views him as an ascending core player, but it will continue to be interesting to see how the Vikings allocate him snaps alongside edge rushers Jonathan Grenard and Andrew Van Ginkel. They are 2 of the team's core players in Indianapolis. Several NFL executives mentioned Van Ginkel's name unprompted, marveling at his impact in Flores' defense. So, obviously, the Vikings will not be trading Andrew Van Ginkel. Like, he is the most important player to this Flores defense because he is the most versatile. He really does a great job disguising whether he's coming or he's not on any given down, and he is just a badass of a football player. Like, he is great against the run. If he maybe he's not the best true pass rusher, a hand in the dirt trying to get to the quarterback, but with his disguise, how creative he is, and just how technical he is in his game, he is one of the better players in the National Football League, specifically in Flores' defense. Now, Jonathan Grenard, we're getting reports that the Vikings could potentially move him. Adam Schefter tweeting this out earlier today that they are now open to trading Pro Bowl edge rusher Jonathan Grenard. Makes a lot of sense. You save about $12 million if you do move him. So that possibly could be on the table for the Minnesota Vikings. But you guys let me know. Should the Vikings trade Jonathan Grenard? Give me a Y for yes. Give me an N for no down below. I think they should. Give Dallas Turner that more increased role, and we'll see if that ends up happening. But if you guys could, hit that subscribe button on your way out. We keep you guys posted with everything around your Minnesota Vikings. And as always, Skol Vikes.